Hello and welcome to the in-depth series section of Drishti IAS. I'm Aisha, and in today's episode we will be talking about the concept of the net zero. So what is India's target of net zero? Now the point that COP29 has recently been done and the US presidential election. So with these topics, and as of now the G20 meeting is going on. So these topics have brought back the concept to the forefront, and that is the net zero emissions. So from India's perspective, if we talk about the net zero emissions, so first of all we need to understand what is net zero. Now the concept of net zero means that how much a country is giving out, that country must have, or that country must possess the capacity or the capability of getting it back. It means that how much carbon emissions one single country is giving out, that same country or that single country must possess the capacities and the capabilities to take back the same amount of emissions, and that is what is called net zero. So net zero, whenever in a fast pace you are reading something or you are trying to understand that concept, you might think that, or many a times a student or an aspirant thinks that net zero concept talks about that a country does not have to emit carbon emissions. No, that does not talk about in that sense. Net zero means whatever a country is giving out, the emission, the amount of emissions, that country must have the capability to get it back or to observe it. Now, observing it back can be in many different forms. Like for example, it can be in the form of creating carbon sinks, like for example oceans, like for example forests, like for example through the technique of carbon sequestration, or many other things also. So this concept of net zero emissions, now every single country for themselves has set a target year, that till that particular year or till that specific target or year, a country is going to be carbon neutral. For India, that target year is year 2070. It is not that only India has said it. Globally, if we talk about, then it is 2050. Particular countries, if we talk about, then US is 2050. China is 2060 and India is 2070. So we will be understanding almost everything about the net zero emissions. So first of all, about the timeline, first we will be looking at the news, then why net zero, what is net zero, is net zero equitable or not, what is India's scenario with regard to it, what are the challenges that a country faces, and in the end, prelims MCQ topic is of relevance from General Studies paper 3, that is environment and ecology. Now the news talks about, with 45 years to go, how sustainable is India's road to net zero. Now India's road to net zero, and the year that for net zero is 2070. So around 45 years are left. So let us talk about it. And before that, let me tell you that the classes of Drishti IAS, which was taking place till now in Mukherjee Nagar, now they will be starting in Noida. And the metro station, and if you are traveling by the metro station, then the metro station at which you have to get down is Noida sector 15. So the exact address for the new center in Noida is C171/2 Block A Sector 15, Noida, Uttar Pradesh, and the nearest metro station is Noida Sector 15. And this is how the Drishti IAS building looks like. It is very close to the metro station, and so you will be able to see it also, and it has the boards are also placed there. If you have any query, you can give us a call at 9311406440. And to find the exact location of the building, the link is given in the description box. And also, if you want to if you want to receive a call from our side, then also the link is given in the description box. You can go and fill out the form. So the classes which were happening till now in Mukherjee Nagar will now be happening in Noida. Now getting back to the news, let us talk about the news. So the COP29 and US elections have brought attention towards the climate actions, and the challenge is with regard to operationalizing global cooperation towards a common cause even when national interests do not align with it. Like for example, when in the previous term Donald Trump was the president of the United States, he kept US out of the Paris Agreement. Then US entered the Paris Agreement again under the presidentship of Joe Biden. But now, as Donald Trump will be taking the oath of the 47th president of the United States, now the danger that is aligning, or the danger which the environmental or the conservationists are going through, is that the world's largest economy or the world's largest GDP, if that country or the world's richest country will not be a part or will not initiate towards the climate action or taking step towards controlling the climate, the hazardous things which are happening in climate, then how will the things take place? So all this scenario has brought back the topic of climate change into the forefront. As we just understood what is net zero. Now, with regard to net zero, every single country has its own NDC, and that is the nationally determined contribution. Now, nationally determined contributions means that every single country has its own particular set of goals and targets which they set for themselves, and these targets are set or are changed every 5 years, and they are different from one country to another country. So on the basis of its own capacity and the capability, a country sets its own target, that how are they going to deal with the climate change, or how are they going to deal or control their carbon emissions. So in that regard, India also has its own nationally determined contributions. Now let us talk about India's NDC. So first is, India will increase its non-fossil energy capacity to 500 gigawatt by the year 2030, non-fossil fuels. Then second is, India will meet 50% of its energy requirement from renewable energy by the year 2030. So 50% renewable energy 2030. India will reduce the total projected carbon emissions by 1 billion tons from now to 2030, billion tons. Then by the year 2030, India will reduce the carbon intensity by 45%. Earlier this was 30%, but then the NDCs were changed and it became 45%. Then India will achieve the target of net zero by the year 2070. And as India's net zero target is 2070, US is 2050, China is 2060. But if we talk about globally, then globally, if the term global net zero target comes, or the global net zero comes, then it is 2050. Then why net zero? Why becoming net zero is important? Now, scientific consensus talks about that to avoid devastating and irreversible consequences, the world must try to keep the global average annual surface temperature rise to within 1.5 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial levels. Now, when we talk about pre-industrial levels, then the time period from where the industrial revolution started. So you can say that around 1880s. So the time around 1880s. So since that time, the change must be kept within the ambit of 1.5 degree Celsius. And this was also talked about in the Paris Agreement, that it need to be kept around 1.5 degree Celsius and must not go, or we must not let it go beyond the 2 degree Celsius. Then the current increase is at least 1.1 degree Celsius over that in 1880. So since the time of 1880 or the pre-industrial levels, the rise or the increase has taken place is around 1.1 degree Celsius. Then, according to the 6th assessment report of the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, it estimated that from the year 2020, remaining cumulative global carbon budget. So the global carbon budget for a 50 to 67% chance of limiting temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius is 500 billion tons of CO2. And currently the annual global emissions are around 40 billion tons of CO2. Now let me tell you this. What is the meaning of this? See, according to the 6th assessment report of the UNIPCC, it talks about that from 2020, there is a global carbon budget. Global carbon budget is that how much maximum quantity of carbon emission that can take place. So the maximum amount of carbon emission that can take place so that the temperature remains at around 1.5 degrees Celsius. So the maximum global carbon budget is 400 to 500 billion tons. So this is the carbon emission intensity we can afford. And this is the carbon global budget, that is 400 to 500 billion tons. So if the emissions will go beyond it, then we will be able to see the devastating and irreversible consequences. So this is the budget that as of now is there. And currently the global emissions are around 40 billion tons of CO2. Now presently it is around 40 billion tons of CO2 and not more than 400 or 500 billion tons the world or the globe can afford. So this rate at which we are moving, you see that if 40 billion tons of CO2 is happening as of now and the total capacity is 400 to 500 billion tons, then at what speed we are moving? We are moving at a very faster speed, and this is just not sustainable. It means that the coming 15 to 20 years we will reach a situation where we will have to see a very, or where we will be seeing, or the future generation will be seeing very unsustainable mode of climate, or the devastating effects will be seen of the climate, because the rate at which we are moving, the coming 15 to 20 years will be very, very difficult from the respect of the climate, because the capacity is 400 to 500 billion tons and we are moving at 40 billion tons. So the coming 15 to 20 years, the harsh or the devastating effects of climate can ruin things. And the net global emissions must drop drastically to stay within the carbon budget, as the carbon budget is about 400 to 500 billion tons. So this carbon budget concept becomes important because this is something you can also quote in your mains answer. Now, is net zero equitable or not? So if we talk about, then the developed world has caused the problem of climate change or the global carbon emissions. So the countries who has produced or who has contributed the most in the respect of the emissions or the global carbon emissions has been the developed nation or the industrialized nations, like for example US, China, India, Russia, European Union. But it is not that only these developed or developing nations are seeing the effects or are burning or are blunting the effects of the emissions which had taken place by these particular few countries, but the countries who are receiving the negative effects of the climate change or the global carbon emissions are the countries who have not contributed to the increasing of the global carbon emissions or have not contributed to the carbon emissions, like for example the least developed countries or the vulnerable or the island countries. So the developed world has caused the problem of climate change, and they are the countries who need to lead transition and reach net zero emissions well before 2050. And so that the developed nation can help the developing nation and the least developed countries to help and enhance their net zero preparations, because these are the countries who do not have the required finances or the technology or the science and technology or the development techniques so that they can move ahead with regard to the net zero target. Then these expectations aren't being met, however. So the expectations from the developed nations are not being met by the developed nation, like for example the talk about the global or the climate financing, that the developed nations needs to contribute around $100 billion and create a fund so that the developing countries and the least developed countries can take the financial help from it. But these financial funds are not being created effectively by the developed nation, and developed nation are failing to deal with the climate crisis. Then the developed countries are also expected to help finance climate action. And if we talk about COP29, so presently the COP29 has given the green signal to the global carbon market, and the concept of the carbon credits will also come into the aspect. So this concept of carbon credit will also help in some way to the countries which are performing well with regard to decreasing its carbon emissions. So they will earn certain amount of credits, and the countries who are not able to meet their targets of carbon emissions, they will be buying the carbon credits from the countries who are successfully reducing on to their carbon emissions, and in return of the carbon credits they can give capital or they can give money to the other countries. So this is how the carbon market concept also work. Then comes what is India's scenario as of now. So India's per capita emission are among the lowest in the world. So if we talk about the per capita emissions in India, so that is among the lowest in the world. A lot has to do with the population of India also, but as of now it is among the lowest in the world. And according to the World Inequality Database, per capita emissions of the richest 10% are 20 times greater than that of the poorest 10%. So the richest 10% are giving or are contributing much more emissions as compared to the poor people. And in absolute terms, if we talk about, then almost half of the country's total is being contributed by the richest 10%. Then the climate change more severely affects the economically weaker sections, because they are the people who are not able to move away from the hazardous and the extreme consequences of the climate change. Like for example, if we talk about the year 2024, so the extreme heat waves that we have witnessed in this year, or the extreme flooding that we have seen in this year, is one of the examples of the climate change. And if things will not be controlled, and if the temperature will not be coming in respect or in that zone of 1.5 degrees Celsius, then in the coming future, the sustainability aspect which we talk about always, that we need to create an environment or we need to create a world which is sustainable, so that we can pass it on to our future generation, and what we give to them will show that how we have performed or how we have dealt with the environment. Then India lacks carrying capacity to support the developed world's lifestyle standards for its entire population, because the population of India is so high. We are the most populous country in the world. India will also run into significant food shortage, groundwater depletion, extreme heat stress in urban areas, and this is due to the ever increasing vehicular pollution and the AC use. Now the air condition use is also rising, and especially in the urban areas. And if we talk about the respect of the greenhouse gases emissions, because the fluorocarbons which are going out from the AC, they also increase the greenhouse effect. And then the irreversible biodiversity loss due to the non-ideal land use changes is also creating the problem. So these are few of the problems which India will be facing if the carbon emission targets will not be met on time. And if we talk about the new consumption corridor, now new consumption corridor is that in a scenario where consumption rises unchecked and India electrifies all end use applications, then the power demand could increase 9 to 10 fold by the time 2070, and this is the year that India targets to be net zero. Then meeting it entirely via renewable energy will require around 5,500 gigawatt of solar and 1,500 gigawatt of wind. But as of now, from solar we are producing around 70 and wind is around 47. So the gap is way too much. And even though, do we have the capacity, do we have the desired infrastructure, then we can actually achieve this target of 5,500 gigawatt of solar and 1,500 gigawatt of wind? This is also a question which needs to be seen. Now there is a curve that comes into the respect, and that is the Kuznets curve. Now this is the Kuznets curve, And Kuznets curve talks about, on one side there is inequality, and on the other side there is economic growth and environmental degradation. So it's talk about, then this is on this, you can say this is x-axis, no, this is x-axis and this is y-axis. The y-axis talks about income inequality, while the x-axis talks about the economic growth and also the environmental degradation. So when we talk about this, it talks about that when the incomes are rising. Now this is a situation in a developing country. This is a developing country situation and this is a developed country or developed economy situation. Now when in a developing country the incomes are rising, so they will keep on rising and the inequality will keep on increasing. But a threshold will come. Where since then the inequality will starts to come down. So in the same way, in a developing country, the environmental degradation will keep on rising. But when we talk about the developed country, then the environmental degradation also needs to come down if we talk about the Kuznets curve. But in today's respect, with regard to the developed countries, that is not happening. The developed countries, they are not being able to contribute positively towards reducing the global carbon emissions. Till now, the countries which are the highest emitter of the global carbon emissions are like US, China, even India is one of it. When we talk about the sulfur dioxide, then India is the biggest emitter in it. So this curve does not go, or the present economies or the developed economies are not working with regard to this concept of Kuznets curve, that when the under the developed economies, the inequality needs to come down with regard to the environmental degradation. So today's developed economies are failing in this concept. Now few of the challenges which countries are seeing as of now with regard to meeting its net zero target emissions. So that is reluctance of the developed nation to fulfill their climate funding obligation poses a major hurdle, because these developed countries are the countries which has the technology, which has the finance, which has the science to deal with it, which has the research and development to deal with it, and also which have the innovative techniques to deal with the problem, but they are not helping. The finance is not taking place. The developed nation are not contributing positively towards the developing and the island countries, so that they should not suffer for something they have not done. Then creation of carbon sinks are not taking place. The oceans, the forest, reforestation techniques, or looking at the places where the carbon sequestration can take place, but the production of carbon emissions are much more than what is the capacity to take it back. Then the present situation persists. It could severely jeopardize Paris Agreement's goal of keeping the temperature rise below 1.5 degrees Celsius. So this problem, as of now, the situation which is taking place, if things will keep on moving in this respect, then the Paris Agreement breach will take place of 1.5 degrees Celsius, because the time period that we talked about the global carbon budget. So if in the coming 15 to 20 years, or you can talk about, you do not have to talk about 2 to 3 years, you have to talk about 20, 25, 50 years, then in that particular time period, the sustainability will not take place, because the carbon budget will not permit how much we are giving to the environment. So this was about the whole concept, and in the end of prelims MCQ, and you people need to tell me the answer in the comment section, and it is a PYQ of the year 2016, and it talks about the term intended nationally determined contribution is sometimes seen in the news in the context of A. It pledges made by the European countries to rehabilitate refugees from the war affected Middle East. Second, it is the plan of action outlined by the countries of the world to combat climate change. Third, capital contributed by the member countries in the establishment of Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. D. Plan of action outlined by the countries of the world regarding sustainable development goals. So this is a PYQ and you people need to tell me the answer in the comment section. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time, keep reading, keep writing and keep subscribing to the channel. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.